Hi guys, so today I'm going to share with you guys a couple videos, and I would like to go in depth on how I do my foundation routine, concealer, and then eyebrows, contour, and then a basic eye look for you guys. So I will be breaking it down into, I believe, 4 videos, so that way I can get really into depth with you guys without having a 2-hour long video. So we're going to start today with foundation. So I've already washed my face, and then I have applied the Nivea Men's Post Shave Balm. And I want to say in a video I watched where the girl uses this, and this is obviously my first impression. I haven't used it before, but I thought today I would try it for my video. And I want to say she said it was like sticky, but I rubbed it in and it's not sticky, so maybe I got the wrong one, or not sure. But we will try and see how it all works out. Today I do have a couple blemishes. I do believe it's from new medication that I'm getting kind of blemishes and stuff like that. Typically I don't usually have blemishes, but I guess it's a good thing because then I could show how we cover it. I do a very full foundation and a very matte foundation. So if you're not really into a full coverage, high coverage matte foundations, probably is not going to work for you. I don't like the more dewier finishes. I like a very matte foundation. So I'm going to start with the Age. I've never used this one either, so another first impression for me. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, the Lifter Primer Inside Lifting Makeup and Classic Ivory. It looks a little really dark for me. I'm very light, very pale, so it looks really dark, but I figured why not, we'll try it today and see how it works. I really am fond of the, I could just smell my face and I smell like a man. I'm really fond of the Rimmel Stay Matte. That's like my favorite foundation, but I got this and I figured why not try it. I might have to mix it with another foundation though, because like I said, even though it says it's Classic Ivory, it just looks very dark, and I'm very pale. Especially since it is, oh yeah, that's really dark. Especially since it's starting fall, I am very pale. And as you can see, it kind of came out like a mousse, but for my skin tone, that's really dark for me, and I don't know that it has a very, what good coverage that has. Okay, so this foundation I think I will save for an upcoming video, or maybe I'll just try it on my own, because on my hand it just seemed like very lotiony, and where it was not giving me a very good coverage even on my hand. That's gonna have to, we're gonna have to save that and try that for another time, and good thing that happens, shows no one's perfect. So we're just gonna go ahead and go right in with the Rimmel Stay Matte in 103 True Ivory. And what I do is I take a pump of this on the back of my, not a pump, a squeeze on the back of my hand, just like that. And as you can see, this one is very dark too, but this is very full coverage foundation. I absolutely love this foundation. And what I do is I mix it with the Matte Poreless 1010, and this is very pale. I do not, just personal preference, I do not like this foundation on its own. I feel like because I do have very large pores, that it kind of sinks in the pores and brings them out more, and I don't like that. But when I mix the two together, I get a pretty perfect foundation. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of that in with on the back of my hand with the Rimmel Stay Matte. You have to be careful because this one doesn't have a pump, so it does come out pretty wildly. So as you can see, they're two different, totally different colors. It's running everywhere. I don't like foundations that are really runny like that, so I love mixing it with the Stay Matte. And the Stay Matte literally stays, it doesn't go anywhere. But they don't have a shade light enough for me, and their lighter shades are really pink, and I just don't like that. So if they had a shade that was very, excuse me, I apologize. If they had a shade that was very pale, I probably wouldn't mix it, and I would just use the Stay Matte, because I just love that foundation. It literally stays, and it's thick, but it feels very soft. It's just phenomenal. So I just mix the two together, and this is just a foundation and concealer brush by Soho. And then I'm just going to take and apply it everywhere on my face where I apply foundation. I do not apply foundation, and this again is just personal preference, on my under eyes or my eyelids. Because I feel like in those areas I tend to crease very badly, which I think everybody creases in those areas probably the most. So I don't like to put foundation in those areas and cause any problems that I can avoid. So just applying this everywhere onto the face and then down the neck, because I don't want to forget that and then have two totally different colors. And then I'm going to take my, and then depending on the day, depends what brush I use to blend it out. But today I'm going to use the Skin Perfecting Eco Tools. And I'm going to start by stippling that foundation in everywhere all over the face. And especially with this time of year, it being fall and getting cold, our skin tends to get a lot drier than in the summertime. So it's very important that you just be very gentle with your foundation. And as I'm stippling and going through, I'm very lightly just buffing in that foundation. Like literally barely touching the skin, just buffing it out. Making sure it's well blended. You don't want to go in and just really disturb and get it real rough with the skin, especially because it is getting colder and our skins tend to be a little drier. You really want to be very careful not to disturb the skin too much, because you can make that a lot worse and cause really bad flakiness and redness in the skin. So just very gently rubbing it in. I know it looks like I'm pressing hard, but I promise I'm not. I'm just pressing very soft but quickly. And it seems like I'm going, oh my gosh, she's going so fast, but it's because this is my everyday routine. So once you're doing this every single day, you tend to be a bit quicker. And I feel like when I go slower, I tend to press harder, or I concentrate a little too much in one area and I don't get as good of an effect. So like I said, just very quickly but very, very gently rubbing this into the skin. Not rubbing, buffing. And I really like to go down my neck. Even though my neck is very pale, I do turn red for anything. So I'd like to keep my foundation down there too to help with that. Now as you can see, that really covers the skin. Typically I don't have blemishes, so then everything would be covered. But luckily for you today I do. So now we will get into concealers. I want to start with, I usually mix my MAC Pro Long with my Master Conceal, but I ran out of my MAC Pro Long yesterday, so today we're going to do a little bit different. I'm going to take my Laura Mercier and S1. This is their Secret Camouflage. I love this concealer. It is just very, a little more on the expensive side, so I don't like to use it unless I have no choice to use it, and today we are going to use it because I actually have blemishes. So I'm going to start with this darker shade. Now on camera this looks not very dark, but in real life it is a very orange dark shade. And I'm just going to take that concealer brush again and load some of that concealer onto the brush, and I'm just going to barely touch those areas. And I will be going over them again with a lighter shade. But the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want my blemishes highlighted in any way, shape, or form. So I like to just go over them first when I actually do have blemishes with a darker shade, just like that. And then I could just take my sponge and tap over it just to make sure it's blended. And now I'm going to take my Maybelline Master Conceal, and this is in the shade Light on the back of my hand. I'm running out of this one too. Now before I put this one on my face to conceal, I'm going to just wipe off the brush I had, and I'm going to take the light shade from this palette, and that's going to go under my eye area. Just keeping that eye area a little bit lighter, and then we'll put the concealer over it. I love this Laura Mercier concealer because it is a very dry concealer, and I just absolutely love that. It is phenomenal. It's definitely worth the price, definitely worth how much it is. I want to say it's like $30, so it's not nothing crazy like $1,000 concealer or anything in it, but it is definitely worth every penny. Where I currently live, there's a makeup store down the road. There's an Ulta, but our Ulta is not that big, and they don't have Laura Mercier. Obviously Ulta doesn't carry MAC. They don't have a lot of the makeup I like this one and MAC, and they have Benefit too. They just don't, it's not my favorite. And my favorite makeup stores to go to are about an hour away. And we do have a Sephora in our JCPenney's, but as you all know, the Sephora in JCPenney is not that great. They have like the basics. I want to go to like the big Sephora that has Laura Mercier and has Hourglass and just all of the makeup I want to get. So once I have that under my eyes, just really trying to conceal those bags and brighten that up. And like I said, I don't add foundation under my eyes, and that's another reason I don't add foundation too, is because I do add quite a bit of concealer and stuff. So I'm just going to take my concealer brush again, and I'm just going to go everywhere I want to conceal, which is around the nose and the mouth area that later I will turn red. And then because today usually that's the only part I would conceal, but today because I do have blemishes, we're going to go ahead and go over those. And like I've said before, you really want to be careful not to have your blemishes be really white or more highlighted. Because as we all know, whatever is highlighted will be more pronounced and more out there, and we don't want that in our blemishes. So just taking my sponge and blending all of that out, and again with my sponge I'm just barely tapping in. And then you can use your finger as well. Typically I use my finger when blending, but because I do have blemishes, I don't want to touch anything and then touch my face and get any germs or anything on my face. So today I will use my sponge that I know is nice and clean. Not that my hands aren't clean, but you just never know. Touch my cat or my dog or something after I wash my hands and forget, and I can do that quite often. So that's pretty much as blended as you're going to get. So now we're going to go in and we're going to highlight. I love using this product to highlight with, well, to cream highlight. And this is the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous. It is probably my favorite cream highlighter. And this is in the color Fair. I wanted to say light, but it's not, it's Fair. And then you can just go in and highlight wherever you want to highlight. I don't believe in that there's a certain map and you have to place that map in everybody's face and everybody's has to look the same, and I don't believe in that. That just doesn't, there's no way I can place Kim Kardashian's techniques and the way she highlights on my face and it work. It's gonna look crazy. Pretty much my whole entire face would be highlighted and I would have nothing else. So really you gotta go in and you really just gotta play with makeup and just figure out what works best for you. So this is where I like to highlight, and maybe you don't, but maybe by you seeing that I do it a little bit different, will encourage you guys to try different techniques and try highlighting in different areas that may work for you too. And that's really the whole goal here. Now, I do highlight my forehead because it is a bit on the average too small side. So I like to get a good highlight on there. Now I highlight on my nose just at the top of the bridge right there. I'll explain that for you guys. The reason I highlight on my nose just right there is because I do have a longer nose. So if I did the whole highlighting all the way down my nose, I would elongate that and bring more attention to it, and I just don't want to do that. And then this way, I bring more attention to this top part and then give the illusion that my nose is a little shorter. So again, with my sponge, just barely tapping all of that into the skin and blending it out. Trying to keep it just right in that area. And to this may seem like, oh my god, that's a lot of products. I don't want to have to put all the products on my face. It seems intimidating. But if you think of it, it's just very little of each product. And if you want to get a certain look and you want to be flawless, you're going to have to use concealers and things of that nature. It would be nice if we could get a perfect flawless face with just foundation. That would be awesome. Now I tend to have really large pores right here for some reason, so I really want to just take my brush and try to really get the product in that area. So once I have that all blended out, I'm going to take my light shade on my finger. I know I said I wasn't going to use my finger, but I have to. And highlight my Cupid's bow. And that's my favorite place to highlight because I do have very tiny lips and it just really accentuates that area. So that's it for liquids. You're done, you're good. You have your foundation, concealer, and you're highlighted with your liquid highlighter. Now let's go in with powder. So I'm going to start by setting my foundation just with a translucent powder. You can use whatever you want, high-end, drugstore, whatever. Today I'm just going to use the Rimmel in 001 transparent powder. Sometimes I use the Poreless by Too Faced. I use the Makeup Forever translucent. It just depends whatever is available or I have or I'm just using at that moment. And what I do is I just take a big fluffy brush. This is a dusting and powder brush by the Vintage Cosmetic Company. And I just get a very little, it's not like there's a lot, and just press it in my skin. You never want to go when your foundation's still a little bit damp and start swirling it in. All you're going to do is just move all of that makeup, the foundation and highlighter and concealer you just strategically place on your face. You're just going to move all that around. If you just start going in and swirling and all that stuff, you don't want to do that. Don't forget your neck where you applied your makeup. And two, you always want to let your foundation and your concealer and any kind of product that is more liquid based dry a little bit before you add powder. And for that reason, let's say you applied your foundation and then you directly apply powder on top of it. What's going to happen is your foundation is going to just suck up all that powder, and then you're going to have to add more powder and more powder because your foundation's then trying to dry itself with all of this powder, and then you're going to create, that's how you get that real muddy, thick look on your face, and that's what we want to avoid. We don't want to do that, so just give it a minute or so to dry up. Now I'm going to take my NYX Highlight and Contour and my sponge, and I'm going to take a little bit of this yellowy banana color and mostly this white color, and I'm going to set my under eyes. I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So a little bit of the banana, very little, and then mostly the white color because I want to keep it very white since I am pale. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do, set that down. I'm going to take my under eye and I'm going to just bounce my finger, making sure it is nice and crease free. And as I'm looking up, I'm going to set my under eye with the powder. And that's how I'm going to avoid creasing in my under eye area. If you set your powder, your under eye, while it's not creased, that's how you're going to avoid creasing throughout the day. Now if you just look straight ahead and you just start setting it like this, you're not going to get rid of the creasing, and you're going to have creasing throughout the whole day, and you're going to be like, oh my god, why is my makeup creasing, and blah blah blah. And I've seen a video where a young lady was saying, oh, there's nothing you can do, you're going to crease no matter what. That's not true. You're going to have fine lines no matter what, unless obviously you have surgery or something, but you can avoid creasing by using this technique. And I'm just going to take that white shade and I'm just going to set in my highlighted areas really quickly, just using very little of it. And that's it. That is how we do our full. Now you can go in and just really dust off any excess just to make sure you're nice and set. That's it. That's how you do your foundation, flawless foundation, concealer, all that. If you do have acne or acne scarring, this is going to work perfect for you. And I just wanted to share one more thing with you guys before I go. So you can stop here. This could be your perfect base, and then you can just go on and contour and do your eye makeup, whatever else you want to do. But I would like to share with you guys how I bake. And baking is my favorite thing to do, and it definitely makes a difference in your end result when you do finish applying your contour and everything. It's really going to help blend everything out and really set it and just give you a flawless, perfect face. And what I like to use is the Airspun Loose Powder. Out of all high-end products and everything I use, this is my favorite, and it is very inexpensive. I want to say I got it at Walmart for $5 or $6, and you're going to find it in the, where like the nail stuff is. You're not going to find it by the makeup. It's going to be like where nail clippers and things of that nature are. Sorry, I have to, it's a little bit noisy getting some of this stuff out. So I just load up my lid with it, and then I'm going to take my little Real Technique sponge. This is my favorite sponge to use to bake. And I've seen a lot of baking videos out there. I've noticed it's become very popular, even though I've done it forever. I've barely noticed it's coming popular and everybody's baking, which is great because I absolutely love it. But what they're not doing is they're not setting their bake in first. If you don't set your bake in first, it's kind of pointless to even bake. So what you want to do is load your brush up, and everywhere you're baking is pretty much all your highlighted areas. And that first layer you want to really set in. So really press it into the skin. Just like that. So then once you have that first layer pressed in, now you can go in and add your 2 or 3 layers of baking. And you can add as many layers as you like, getting the fullest effect. And I always like to keep everything I apply to my face more of a curved motion than straight. Straight lines add age, curve keep youth. So I like to just remember that with any contouring or highlighting or anything, to really keep things at more of a curve. Just like that. And then now I'm going to cut out under where I'm going to later apply my contour. Just like that. Press it in. And then I'm really going to accentuate this part of my jaw right here, because that's where I want it to be more prominent and show up more. I'm not concerned with here or here. I want right here to be more prominent. And that's pretty much the point of baking, is you're just bringing out whatever you want to be more prominent and highlighted. And definitely give you a full, flawless airbrushed effect. And how much you add is really up to you. And as we all know, baking comes from our lovely drag queens, which me and my daughters are like obsessed with drag queens. I love, love, love drag queens. I know some people think that's like just totally taboo, like, oh, you let your daughters watch RuPaul's Drag Race. Well, yeah, I do, and my daughters are very much open-minded, as I am, and which I believe they should be. They should be open to all the different things in the world. Not everybody's like us, or not everybody's a certain way, and it's just phenomenal to me, these men that can just get a makeup that's so flawless and beautiful, and it's like, God, I wish I look like that. It's crazy. But like I said, that's where baking comes from, is the drag queens and them trying to achieve that more feminine features, more prominent cheekbones and things like that. So you're just really pressing wherever you want it. And the main thing you want to remember when you are baking is you really never leave it less than 5 minutes. And longer than that is the better. So if you're going to leave it less than 5 minutes, again, you're wasting your time and you might as well not even bake. It's not going to do anything. You're really going to know it's working when your skin starts to kind of come through it and you're like, oh, where's some of that powder going? Where'd it go? Then you really know you've got a good bake on. Because what's happening is you want the product to kind of melt into your foundation and really sink in and really give you a nice highlighted effect. So if you guys, later I will be back and show you guys the finished look from the bake and how I contour my face. That will be my next video. So if you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Any requests you have, let me know. If you guys have any tips, maybe I didn't go over something in this video on my foundation, or you have any tips for me and my fair skin, just let me know. And until then, I will see you guys in my next video.